Welcome, fans, once again to KB's Unemployed show, the only show on the internet where you can sit at your job and watch a guy who doesn't have one anymore. What will KB do today? Change guitar strings, perhaps? Grade papers? Worry about his future? Who knows? The only thing we know is it's guaranteed to make you question your intelligence, simply because you're watching it. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the unemployed lifestyle of KB.
The pods are now open.
Look at my cat. Look at my cat. Look.
I like to study about the world cities and airports.
KB brings just great instincts. That's what you love about him.
Oh, that boy ain't right.
If Andy yearns for Brenda and Brenda cares about Charlene, who pines for Andy, the three of them form one of these. Kara.
What is it, threesome?
No.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit.
Lesbians. It's what makes a Subaru a Subaru.
I don't mind a bit of bush.
37 in a row?
Shut the up, okay? Shut the up.
Do you want to start drinking?
Yes.
You know I'm gonna have to go for 420, Bob. Cheez-Its! Cheez-Its! Cheez-Its!
Light this candle.
He's right. Let's light this candle.
Light the candle.
Are you ready for it?
There we go. The candle is lit, folks. Welcome back. It's week number 3 of KB's Unemployed show, and just an employment update for you. I'm still unemployed. So, and I have no prospects. Unemployed without any prospects other than doing this. And this doesn't pay the bills, but, quite frankly, I don't really care, because with this Packers game this weekend, I was thinking about this, how horrible it would be to have to go in and do a radio show on a sports talk radio station today and just have to beat around the same stupid comments over and over. We should fire Matt LaFleur. We should, Jordan Love is not the guy. Matt LaFleur doesn't know how to call plays. We got to get rid of Brandon McManus. All of those things over and over again. It would be quite simply the most annoying thing in the world. Easily. The most annoying thing I would have to do in the world to do that. But I don't have to do that today, because I get to talk about whatever I feel like. And I get to lean back in a chair. But you know what? The lighting is so freaking bad. I got to, if I'm going to continue to do this, I have got to do something about like lighting and a studio and things like that. But you know what? Being unemployed, you don't have any money to throw into that stuff. So, again, I'm just kind of sitting here and hanging out. But we got a fun show today. And we're going to have a fun shows all week, because it's guest week. And as I said, this show is starting to evolve, and I'm trying to figure out exactly what I'm trying to do with the show, what it's going to turn into. Fact of the matter is I really can't do anything on that is similar to the old show that I was doing. So I can't do any of that. So some of those topics I will be staying away from nonetheless. But what I will be doing is, there's some things you just can't avoid. And when the Packers play that bad, you just can't avoid talking about the Packers. And the game, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, and some of you are going to look at me like I'm crazy. But I said to my wife, hey, listen, at the end of the third quarter, I just had a feeling that this was not going to end well for the Packers. So about the end of the third quarter, I said to Sue, I go, you know what? I'm going up to my room, up to my office, and I'm going to watch something else. I don't know why I did that, but I kind of kept my eye on what was going on and then just watched it deteriorate. And I think a lot of the reason why I couldn't, now I'll be perfectly honest with you, a lot of the reason why I didn't want to watch it is because I'm just annoyed as hell with all the I'm just annoyed as hell with all of the just the adoration for Caleb Williams. I just cannot stand that. It drives me absolutely crazy. And from that standpoint, it's like, okay, if the Bears start coming back, then it's going to be the worst of the worst, because we're going to have to sit. We're going to have to sit on. We're going to have to sit through the last fourth quarter and everyone just talking about how great Caleb Williams is. And I've said this on more than one occasion, that the worst thing that you can give a Bears fan is hope. And now they've got it. And I'm starting to wonder if this Bears team is a team of destiny. And I certainly hope not. I certainly hope not. If it is a team of destiny, then okay, but I don't want it to be. I do not want it to be a team of destiny at all. So what I'm doing and what's kind of happening with this whole show, like I said, it's evolving. And again, like, I don't want to necessarily talk about, well, I really shouldn't be talking about sports. So I'm talking about sports, because what the hell do they care? What are they going to do? They're going to sue me? Really? They're going to sue me for you handful of people that come in to see me every day? That would be really a douchey thing to do. But who knows? I don't live in corporate America, so I couldn't tell you what they're going to do. But that's neither here nor there, is it? No, it is not here nor there. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to turn this into like an interview show, if you will, where I'll come in, I'll do a little introduction like this, and then I'm going to go to a guest. We had previously Ben in the 414 co-hosted a show with me, and did a fine job. Did a fine job with the co-hosting duties. So why not? Why not start sharing the load? There's one thing that Drew and I always used to say. People would come on the show and they would say, "Oh, I hope I didn't talk too much." And we're like, "No, man, we don't care. We don't care at all, because the more you talk, the less we have to." And it's kind of the same way. I mean, we're going to have people on. I got guests lined up for all this week. Thursday, the guest is going to be Trevor Thomas. You might remember Trevor. Trevor co-hosted some shows over on the old station, if you will. So Trevor's going to come on. He's doing mornings, and he is the host of Inside Wisconsin Sports with John Anderson from ESPN, formerly of ESPN. And he will be available on he will be on the show on Thursday. On Wednesday, I have to go up north of the wall. My mom has got to go to some doctor's appointments. She's reached the age of 84, has never driven a car ever, which is just like the wildest thing. I can't imagine going that long throughout my life and having never driven a car, but she doesn't drive. So, and all of her doctors, being from Antigo, all of her doctors are somewhere else. Antigo is not a hotbed for medical technology. When she was in her 60s, she went to the emergency room because she wasn't feeling good, shortness of breath, a little chest pain, completely missed a heart attack. They totally missed it. Just whiff on that. So, she's not going to doctors there, but she's 84. It's got a bit of some congestion, a cough that's been going on. So I'll be gone on Wednesday. But what I'm going to do on Wednesday is I'm going to rerun. When we were in COVID, I started this thing called a little channel, and I've got about 6 or 7 interviews in the can. And I started a show called, and you can see that when you go to the YouTube page, that's the title of the YouTube page, called So What You Drinking? And So What You Drinking is probably the most prolific and popular greeting of any Wisconsinite. If you think about it, whenever they meet someone, what has this been? You said Dario took over for John Anderson? Dario? No, really? He's doing the whole show? Wow. Well, good for him. You know, Dario, a former member of the game Galaxy of Stars. But where was I? See, now, darn it, Ben, I looked at you, and now I don't remember what I was talking about. See, that's the problem. But Trevor is going to be joining with John Anderson. Oh, on Wednesday, I'm going to pull some stuff because I did this show during COVID. So what you drinking? And like I said, that's probably the most prolific greeting. If you think about it, anytime you meet someone in Wisconsin or a friend comes over, the first thing, hey, so what you drinking? Right? So what I did was I created this little interview show and had people on, did it just like this, had people on, and the first question that I would ask is, hey, so what you drinking? And on Wednesday, I'm going to go pull, this interview was about 2 hours long. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to pull some video and I'm going to put it back together. And it is my interview with Christian Bush. Now, if you're not familiar with who Christian Bush is, I met him a few years ago through a woman that I played music with, and he sang on a couple of her albums. But Christian Bush is one of the top producers in Nashville. He's also the second half of the band Sugarland. So I had him on during COVID with his partner in a band that he was first in the early 90s, Billy Pilgrim. So it is Christian Bush and Andrew Hyra. They reunited during COVID, so we'll talk to them. And then tomorrow, set your watches. Set your watches. Alert the media. Talk to your family. Talk to your friends. Gather around the computer, the iPad, the mobile phone, because it is happening, folks. The one and only, the legend from Florida, all the way from the Peninsula State, none other than Red Hot Tim Scott. That is right. Red Hot is going to be joining me on KB's Unemployed show. He's unemployed. I'm unemployed. So we're going to talk about being unemployed together, seeing that we can't really talk about anything else. So, and we're going to talk some of the favorite concerts that we've gone to as well. He's a big concert going. He's a big concert goer. So those are the two guys, or those are my guests for this week. Other guests that will be coming up in the future, screenwriter Pete Schwaba, Billy Gardell, comedian Jeff Cesario, and Kato Kalin. And I'm working on getting Tom Lang. And if I can get Tom Lang, that is going to be a killer show. Now, I don't know if you know who Tom Lang is, but Tom Lang was the lead detective on the O.J. Simpson case. He was a homicide detective in L.A., and he did a considerable amount of investigating in the Los Angeles area during the 70s and 80s, during the heyday of the serial killer movement on Sunset. And he did the Wonderland murders. He did Richard Ramirez. He did the Hillside Strangler. And if I can get him, that's going to be like poured for me to be able to talk to someone like that. But my first guest of the week, we're going to bring him in. If you were a viewer of the Drew and KB show, you know this guy. I've known him for over 30 years, probably closer to 40. Between 35 and 40 years, I know him. And please welcome to KB's Unemployed show, a man who is no stranger to unemployment, Dobie Maxwell. Dobe, what's going on?
Hello, darkness, my old friend, buddy. You're talking my language. I'm the opening act of a great lineup of guests, and thanks for having me.
Hey, man, you got to move your camera.
Oh, sorry about that. You want to see my...
Because I'm just getting... You got to go the other way, because I'm just getting happy.
Oh,
there we go.
That's it. Ladies, feast your wallet.
There we go. So, Dobe, man, thanks for coming on and doing this.
Thanks for asking me, man.
Yeah, I'm just killing time here. So all I'm doing is just kind of killing time while I'm unemployed and kind of making my wife think that I'm doing something important.
Well, you are doing something. You're doing a service to humanity, as the Drew
Am
and
I?
KB show was. Yeah, it was great. And we talked about this a little bit off the air. Now, I know about firing. I've been fired in all 4 time zones in the United States. So it's like hitting for the cycle in baseball. You know, the mountain time zone, that's like the triple. That's a hard one to do. And, you know, you're a creative cat, and to be down, it's not your fault. It stinks. It just does. And actors are between jobs, and just that's where you are, between gigs right now. You'll get another one.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think I'll be fine. But I kind of like unemployment. I mean, yeah, the pay sucks, but in terms of how you spend the day,
schedule's good.
The way I spend my day is pretty damn good. So I got that going for me. So, Dobe, wanted to talk to you a little bit because I came across this yesterday, and this is where I first met you.
Mm-hmm.
Was at the Comedy Cafe in Milwaukee. And by that time, you were already a seasoned comic. I believe you were middling and doing and just starting to headline when I was starting out.
Probably.
And so you're always really supportive of me, but it's going to be the 35th anniversary of the Comedy Cafe, man. And that's where we used to live. Tuesday nights at the cafe was the absolute best. And we used to live there. And both you and I closed the room there. I think you helped get me into the Zanies.
I did.
Rooms. You helped me get into Zanies. And after a couple of years, I was closing the Zanies rooms.
No small accomplishment.
And you're still doing. I'm going to talk about Zanies because we got some good stories. And what I want to do is I want to just start sharing some of the green room stories and some of the comic stories. It's like being backstage at a concert, right? What goes on in the back of that room for comics is amazing.
Yeah.
And some of the stories that we have. But when we, doing the Comedy Cafe, and I know you got into a little harangue with JD, which may have ended your tender there, but
that's an understatement. But okay,
I don't want to go there. I don't want to bring that up because I know it kind of strikes a nerve, if you will.
No, we can go there. I'm fine with it, man. Those I'm amputated. Those nerves have been. It's a hell of a story. It's a one.
Well, then let's do it. Bring it.
Yeah, I got a nickname called the Count of Mailing Crisco, and I'll explain that momentarily. Tell me if we're going too long here, but
no, I don't care.
And well, JD, that was the guy that was the owner of the Comedy Cafe. One of the owners, I don't know if he's the main owner, but I mean, it was his baby, and he was a member of the Outlaws Motorcycle Club, and so was my father, and that didn't intimidate me with my father, and it didn't intimidate me with JD. And the reason I say JB, there was a guy named John Basinius, who was the head of the Outlaws. He used to sit at our kitchen table when my father would hang out. We never did. And Christmas, all the Outlaws would be gathered around the table, dividing up stolen loot and merchandise to wrap up presents for their kids. And they're just bad guys. And JD, the owner of the club, was in this. And I had a car accident, almost died. And I flipped a convertible, a Mustang, coming back from Antigo.
Really?
Yeah.
You were not doing comedy in Antigo.
Yeah, there was a hotel there that was being remodeled, and the lady was actually very nice. I don't know who it was, and you'd probably know her.
Oh, the Hoffman House.
Yeah, that was it.
That was it. Okay, yeah, that's like
so they had
from my folks' house.
Okay, well, there was a comedy show, and it was really going well. We have a hotel room. You want to stay? It's like, no, I really should get home. And the people were super nice, and we stayed longer. So I drove home, and I lived in Milwaukee at the time, and I was coming through a horrible part of town. If listeners are from Milwaukee, it's down Appleton Avenue through the hood, through the north side. And I thought, well, I wanted to get something to eat, so I'll get off the freeway. And there was a KFC that had about 20 cars in line. I don't want to wait there. There's a Taco Bell, had 30 cars in line. I'll just shoot down Capitol Drive. There's a Pick and Save over there. I'll stop and get some, bread and lunch meat. And I was on 27th and Capitol, and there was a red light, and my jacket was off. It was March 20th. My birthday is March 14th. I had just turned 30 years old. So they say life begins at 30. So I'm reaching back. I took my seatbelt off to try to get the jacket off of the back seat of this Mustang convertible. The top was up, but it's still a convertible. These are all details that are important in the story, and it does have a payoff. Trust me. So I reached back there, and the light turned green as I was reaching back, and a long blast on the horn. Now, at 2 o'clock in the morning on 27th and Capitol in Milwaukee, when the light turns green and there's a blast on the horn, you don't have time to put your seatbelt on. You go or get shot. Those are your options. I decided to go, and my seatbelt is off, and I'm at about 19th and Capitol, and I noticed you're wearing glasses. I have to wear glasses when I drive, and I noticed in front of me looked like a rope, a line, a cord of some sort, like a finished line of a. And as it turned out, a drunk driver was coming up the opposite side of Capitol Drive, and he fell asleep at the wheel. It was a 6th offense, driving after revocation, and he hit an electric light pole, which knocked the pole not out of the socket, but at an angle. So there were 2 live electric charged wires across 6 lanes of Capitol Drive in both directions. Now, this happened about 30 seconds before I got there, as they did. So it's fresh. It's right there. And I didn't know what to do in that situation. I had no seatbelt on, and I'm thinking, I ducked. Why I did that, I have no idea. It's like when meteorites falling out of the sky, you put your hand up, you're still going to die. But so I ducked, and turns out the wire went underneath my front tire and my bumper, and it flipped the convertible all the way upside down. So I slid. I slid for about a block and a half on Capitol Drive, and on 19th and Capitol, I hit a mailbox, and I was nudged in there, and I bounced off the steering wheel and the gear shift, and it broke my sternum and 3 ribs. And my jaw was broken too. And you ever have one of those dreams where you're screaming and nothing comes out? I was trying to scream for help, man, nothing. And people are running out of their house. It's 2 o'clock in the morning on 19th and Capitol, and there's residents around there, and they're yelling, "He's dead! He's dead!" And I thought, wow, maybe I am dead. Well, if I'm dead, I won't have to pay off that credit card bill that I have.
There
so
you
that's
go.
good.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm trying to be positive here. My life really did pass in front of my eyes. You hear that happens? It really did. And I'm screaming as loud as I can, and people are yelling, "He's dead!" So I'm upside down, and I didn't know I was upside down. Like a Great America, if you go on those roller coaster upside down, you don't know that you're not, So I thought I'm hitting the gas, thinking I'm going to drive away, not doing that. So now I realize, I'm upside down. The street is by my ear, and there was a little space about 3 inches, and I stuck my fingers out, my middle finger and index finger of my left hand, and I wiggled them a little bit. And the same people, "He's alive, he's alive." And I said, "Well, get his wallet. He ain't going anywhere." This is funny to me. I'm getting laughs, and I'm in the moment. So there was paramedics came up Capitol Drive to attend to the drunk driver who was hurt as well. I was hurt worse, so I took priority. They came to me, they put a chain around my Mustang convertible, put it up on its side, slid it open like a cocoon, and I came flopping out. I had glass shards in my head. I was bleeding. My clothes are ripped to shreds. I'm laying on my back on Capitol Drive facing up. And people are looking at me. I see people. I see cops. I see firefighters. Channel 4, the news camera that's right up the street on Capitol Drive. There's a news camera right in my face as I'm laying on Capitol Drive. And somebody said, "You've been really hurt badly. Just let us know you can hear us. The ambulance is here. We're going to put you in the wagon here." And what would you say in a situation like that?
Right.
I looked up and I said, "I've fallen and I can't get up." And it got a laugh. Said, "What? This guy thinks he's a comedian." I said, "No, I am a comedian." So they scraped me up like a skunk.
I am
off Capitol Drive, and they put me in the ambulance and took me to St. Michael's Hospital on Villard Avenue. It's not there anymore, but it was on 25th and Villard for years and years. So I'm in intensive care, and I can't walk, and I don't know if I'm going to live or die. Really bad shape. And Roz Turner, who booked the Comedy Cafe, came up to see me, and her daughter Samara, lovely, wonderful, sweet people. And they said, JD at the Comedy Cafe is going to have a benefit for you, a fundraiser. I arranged it. I'm going to make sure it's okay. And I said, "Look, that guy doesn't care if I live or die. In fact, he probably wants me to die. Please don't insult me and do a benefit." "Well, there's nothing I can do about it." "Well, we're going to do this whether or not you approve, and we'll make sure it works out good." And they had good intentions. So
we're still going to do it. And
we're going to do it.
Then we're going to do it again up in Escanaba, because they love you up there.
And little Stevie will have pasties, and it'll be wonderful. And we're going to go fishing for crappies. So long story longer, a couple days later, they had the benefit, and Roz and Samara came up to my intensive care hospital bed, and they gave me a check, which I opened in front of them, and I counted $23 and some change jingling in the envelope. And I said, "Why is there $23 and change in this envelope?" And oh no, the place was packed. It should be a couple $1,000s in there. So well, let's call JD and see what happens.
Oh, no,
in the room. So we called JD and we're on speakerphone. And yeah, this is Dobie. I heard, oh yeah, hey, hope you're doing okay. I said, no, I don't think you hope that at all. Why did you send me $23 and change? And he said, well, I couldn't give you the door money. There was a $10 cover charge. That my staff had needed to have that. I passed the hat at the end of the show, and a lot of comics had left, but there's a lot of people to support you. There's $23 and change, and the comics all chipped in. I said, comics weren't supporting me. Comics are stage whores. It could be a Hitler Youth rally. There's a crowd and a group. They'll go up a mic. They'll go up for the stage time. Well, you're pretty ungrateful for somebody that hasn't had a benefit for them. I said, look, you fat bastard. If I die here, I will haunt you and your family for the rest of eternity. If I live, I will make sure I get revenge on you somehow, some way. Yeah, we'll see. F you. Hang up the phone. And Roz, oh no, that's not the way it's supposed to go. And she's a sweetheart. She didn't mean bad about it. And it was a sore spot. So it literally took me 6 months. I had to learn how to walk again. My jaw was wired shut. I was in rough shape. So I was starting to get back up again and pay the bills. I was booked in the Nashville Zanies. We talk about Zanies.
I've done that one by Printer's Alley.
Yeah, by Printer's Alley, right there. So this is before cell phone. This is early 90s. I think 94 or something like that. 94, 95. And I got a phone call at the condo. That's an apartment where comedians live, for those listening who don't know that.
Don't eat the mayo.
Don't eat the mayo. John Fox. Exactly.
You go into a comedy condo and there's probably 8 jars of mayonnaise in there. Thank you, Anthony Clark.
Yep. So if you know, you know. On that one. Yep. So getting back to it. So I got a call at the condo saying, hey, did you hear about JD in Milwaukee? So no, what happened? He had a heart attack. Oh, is he dead? No, but coincidentally, he is in intensive care in St. Michael's Hospital, exactly in the ward that you were in. I said, boy, that's amazing. Thank you for the call. And KB, I should have been thankful that I lived through it and I could have died. And I walked around for about 30 minutes. And I'm sorry, I couldn't do it. I walked to there's a Kroger about 6 blocks away from that condo. And I bought a tub of Crisco and a pound of bacon and some Cheese Whiz and some Miracle Whip and some sausage gravy and a big old card, a Hallmark card. And I said, you fat bastard, you spent my benefit money with you and your friends on rib dinners. So here's a little dessert package. I'll see you in hell. Love, Dobie.
Oh, man. I
mailed it to Roz. I regret this to this day. All of it I regret, but especially that. So I mailed it to her, and this is back when long distance phone calls, it cost money. So she called everybody. Did you hear what Dobie Maxwell did? And the story obviously grows. It's like a game of telephone. So I told you what really happened. By the time other comedians heard about it, I was up in his room. I was pinching his IV. I had my hands around his throat, and the cops came and hauled me off. I mean, I was punching him. I was putting a pillow over his head. There was all these things that did not happen at all. So it did spread really fast. And there's the 3 forms of communication in the world: telephone, telegraph, telebooker. Every comedian, every other booker in the country knew it. So I was working for Zanies. Now, a guy named Bert Haas, who you know, because you work for him, and that's the guy I introduced you to. So I was working at Zanies that particular night, and I came down in Vernon Hills, Illinois. You know that one. There was a few locations. So I showed up, and I see him on the phone in his office, and he waves at me, and he gives me the, hey, hold on a second, I want to talk to you. Okay, so Mr. Maxwell, could you come in and shut the door? Nothing good ever happens after the words shut the door. He goes, I must admit, I heard about your little Crisco stunt today at about 3:00 in the afternoon. And when I heard it, I chuckled. I said, that's something that Dobie Maxwell would do. That's it's your personality. At about 3:15, when I heard it for the 40th time and bookers across the country called me, I realized we have a problem here. He said, you're never going to be, people have never heard of you before. That's all they're going to win. I said, it was just between me and JD. He goes, you know how people talk. You're never going to recover for this. You never are. And I said, well, I did what I did. It's too late now. And sure enough, it's like Ozzy Osbourne biting the head off the bat.
It follows you everywhere.
Whether he did or he didn't, that's the first thing. Rod Stewart and the bottle.
Yes.
Have you heard that one? There's another one. Why it's Rod Stewart, Richard Gere, gerbils. I'm sure it wasn't a pet store. Those gerbils weren't on a wheel. They were in the old, peanut canal. So so that story, that to this day, I get people tell me the Crisco story, and I wish I'd never done it, but it sure comics loved it. I don't know how you heard it, when you heard it. It's okay if you did, and what version that you've heard. But to this day, people, I was afraid to work with you. It's been 20 plus years now, and you're one of the nicest guys I ever met. I say, well, don't believe everything that you hear, but it made me into a monster. I lost a lot of work over it, but it sure is a legendary story that still won't die.
It's, you know what? It's great to be attached to a legendary story as long as it, it really is. As long as it doesn't completely kill you. And I mean, you're still working, you're still getting work, but comedy is dried up. It's gotten so bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at the Comedy Cafe was home base, right? And that's where you went on Tuesday nights if you weren't out on the road. You went to the cafe, and that's where guys that you crossed paths with when they came through, if you weren't out on the road, you go down there and you'd hang out and you'd see them. But Tuesday nights was open mic night. And once you got in, for people that don't understand like how comedy really works, you got everywhere you hear the stories of like New York where I had to go do a set at Catch and then the Comedy Cellar. And then, and I went on at 1:15 in the morning and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
And you go in, and it was hard to get in. You had to crack it, right? You had to get good, and then all you had to do after that was walk in, and boom, on the list. Once you got a little bit more proficient and funnier and actually knew how to do an act. But, open mic nights, the way they kind of worked, and the life cycle and the history of a comic, if you will, is open mic nights. When you first start out, you're doing open mic nights to get your feet wet, to know what it's like on stage. And everybody sucks.
Sure.
Everybody, except that there was one person who we interviewed, a comic, and her name is Brittany Schmidt, very popular, from here in Milwaukee, blonde girl, but she's cut out of that same mold of Nikki Glaser.
Mm-hmm.
Hot blonde who banged everybody and talks about banging everybody. And I asked her a question. I go, well, what was it like to go up and absolutely suck? And she said, I never did. I'm bullshit. Yeah, you had to. But, upon further, further questioning, realized that now she probably didn't suck because she was working with a writer who wrote her act, and then she was like an actor, so it wasn't like really, it was probably kind of true, but it was all crafted, so all she had to do was learn her lines and learn the pause as much as an actor would, and you would be fine. And I'm like, I don't know if I like that. There's something about going up and dying and that feeling of, that's when you know when you're going to be, whether you're going to do it or not. When you go up and you crash and burn and you are so bad, and you get up and you go do it again. And I go, all right, I'll be back next week. That's, and then all of a sudden it starts to catch. That's what I loved about it.
It's you're forged in steel. I mean, how bad was your father's lack of love, not you personally, but metaphorically, that we go up there and face drunken strangers to try to get the approval we never got at home? And there's a certain metal that makes you want to do that. That is, I say we're dented cans. I mean, a normal, nice person would not do that.
Well, when you the point I was going to get to is when you first start out, you go to learn your act.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you get more polished, you go to open mic nights to write your act.
Right.
Okay. So it's like, oh, I got this bit I want to try. And you might have it. I was not one who wrote everything out. I knew comics who wrote everything out word for word.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Larry Miller is the guy who wrote it word for word.
Very much so.
I think Seinfeld writes his word for word,
mm-hmm.
exactly what he's going to do. I never did that. And obviously you can tell by doing this, I just rip on stuff. But I had not done stand-up probably in 10 or 12 years.
Wow.
And this is kind of a funny story. I think it is. And I'm going to offend people here. Maybe it was even 15 years. Well, anyway, it doesn't really matter the length of time. But the Comedy Cafe was still on Brady by Giovanni's. And I called Chris, who was the guy who was running it. And I'm like, hey, Chris, this is KB. I'm thinking of coming in and doing an open mic. Because what I wanted to do, my son had gone, he was in college. So I figure I could go and do one middle set for a weekend and pay for his books for the semester. You know, I'm sure they would flip me $700-800 or whatever like that to middle. So I went down there and I had 4 lines on a piece of paper written down, 4 subjects.
Okay.
And I walk in, and it was the weirdest time warp because the front, nothing had changed. Literally nothing had changed in the room. And you walk in and there's everybody's headshot on the wall. When you walked in that front staging area, if you will, there's all the headshots. And I'm going, dead, 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 dead.
Rehab,
overdose, dead. And mine was up there, signed to Kevin and Linda. And it was just really weird. But it felt like, this is probably 15 years after I stopped doing comedy, but it still felt like I had just been there the week before.
Sure. Deja vu.
So Chris is like, hey, I'll introduce you to the guy who's running the open mic night. Oh, great. I said, that'll be great. So I meet the guy's name. I don't know what it is. Of course, you know, young 20-something thing. So he must have been like the hottest act down there because he's running open mic.
Sure.
And kind of like Brady Street was so good, and they used to run it. So I walk in. I used to close the room, right?
Sure.
So I walk in. Nobody has any freaking idea who I am.
Yeah. Humbles you, doesn't it?
And no one has any idea who I am. And I walk in and I go, and this is going to get a little bit vile. So they introduced me to this kid, and he looks at me and he goes, oh, so you're going up. Now, I don't realize at the time, because it's such a time warp, that how much older I look than anyone. Right?
Sure.
And so, yeah, I said, yeah, I'm going up. And he goes, well, don't worry. I put you between 2 really good comics.
Slap,
and I
slap.
just looked at him and I said, I wasn't worried, you know. And I said, as a matter of fact, I used to finger blast Judy Tenuta as she begged for me to do my Paul Reiser impression while you were starting doing knock knock jokes. And he looked at me and he went, who? And that's all I needed to know. And of course, I'd never, you know, finger bang Judy Tenuta, but she did, when I worked with her, there was one thing I could do that I could just crack her up. And she always like, pig, do your Jerry Seinfeld. And so I'd say, you know, who are these people? And then she go, I'm going to do Paul Reiser. And I go, who are these people? Well, anyway, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go up. And this is where I knew the comedy had changed. And I had my opening line, and I'm thinking, man, this is cut right up when we were doing it in the 90s. Man, this would have slayed. And I remember exactly what it was. And I walk out and I get to that point where they introduce you and the whole crowd gets quiet. And there's that point where it's slightly uncomfortable and then you talk. And I just grabbed the mic and I said, I think if I had to create the world's worst driver, it would be an elderly, handicapped Asian woman in a Prius with a Jesus sticker, with a Jesus fish.
Wow. Good morning, everybody.
And a coexist bumper sticker. And all I got was, ooh.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, buddy. Come on. Are you kidding me? I mean, all I did was took every stereotype and cram it into one sentence.
Yeah. Comedy formula.
If you don't know that, and I was like, all I could think of, because the guy I swear to God, the guy before me was talking about Smurfs.
Mhm.
And I'm like, this has got to be taken. I'll be taking candy from a baby. This guy's talking about Smurfs. What a moron. And he was talking, he goes, I want to know what Jew greenlit this. And I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible.
Mhm.
You know, you can't do that. And I go up and I do the other thing, and it was like, ooh. So then I knew I was going to be in trouble.
Yeah. How'd you follow that? How did you follow that up?
Well, this is what I did. And you know how comics, like you'll have a stool up there?
Mhm.
Well, I took my thing, you know, a small piece of paper about like this, and I had 4 lines written on it, and I threw it down, and I had it on the chair.
Mhm.
And so I'm talking, and I kind of get through the first bit, and I walk over to the chair and just take a glance down to see what my next line was going to be,
Mhm.
my next topic. And it was at that moment, this is the thought that went through my mind. At that moment, I forgot my readers. Now I am up on the stage at an open mic with 4 bits that I'm pretty sure were going to be killer.
Mhm. Sure.
And not knowing where to go.
Well, you didn't panic. You just did it.
No,
got
you just
through
go up and that's all you do. You just go up and you do it. Right. And if you crash and burn, you crash and burn. And
Well, people don't realize the audience doesn't care. They don't know. They don't care. It means a lot more to the comic. What's that?
Not on a Tuesday, they don't.
Yeah, not anytime.
So that was my last comedy cafe. And I didn't go back, and I just went, no, you know, I'm done. I'm just done. I tend to lean toward a little more toward the tasteless, and I've got some good premises. I would love to do tweeting the Stations of the Cross if they had Twitter back then.
Wow, I'm gonna wash my hands of that.
What those tweets would be like. You know, how people tweet, they'll tweet football games and things like that, and be hashtag Jesus down. You know?
Wow. All right.
That's a little harsh.
Well, but the thing is, see, you and I came from a generation where the idea is to push the envelope. That's what comedy is. It's like, you know, I don't know about you, but half the memes on my phone, if they were presented in a court of law, I would be in a felony jail situation. It's not PC. It's harsh. It's all the shit. And it's like, it's a joke. It's funny. See, as comedians, our surprise level is pushed so far back. You have to say things like that to even get a bit of a response. Doesn't offend you personally, but people they're looking for stuff to get offended by now.
Yeah, and it's like the back of the room. I mean, if you think anyone gets dark on stage, the back of the room is really dark. That's where all the dark stuff comes out, hanging back there with the comics. But you know, you mentioned Zanies, and for me, that was kind of like the highlight of my career when Bert first booked me to close the downtown room.
Yeah, that's a coming of age, man.
Yeah, you look on the wall, and Zanies is one of the great legendary comedy clubs in the country.
Leno, Seinfeld, Sam Kinison, Eddie
and they're
Murphy.
all on the wall, and I'm like, what am I doing here? But the back of the room, who was the funniest guy you ever worked with that would be in the back of the room who could just freaking kill it?
Andy Kindler.
Oh, God, yeah.
He was a kind of a New York Jewish guy that was very sweet, very nice, get on stage, and his references were so obscure, much like Gilbert Gottfried. I think Gilbert Gottfried, people loved him or hate him, and I think you and I both love him. I know I do. I think he was brilliant, but I've seen audiences, even after he got famous, still didn't get him, didn't like him. Almost booed him off the stage. Andy Kindler was much like that, but I don't think he had any level of fame whatsoever. Club owners and comedians liked him, but I don't think he had any like movie parts that he could say, well, he was Uncle Shmoo and the,
he popped up with some, cameos and things like that on sitcoms, but he was like, he went right for the throat.
Oh yeah.
Every single time. The guy had no filter.
Necrophilia, pedophilia, any kind of philia, weird, wacky, dirty, off the wall stuff. It was really, really funny if you knew him, and audiences didn't know him, and they stared at him.
Yeah.
Ted Norkey. Ted Norkey's another one.
Ted Norkey. Chicago guy, wasn't he?
Michigan, but he did live in Chicago for a while.
But he
He's from
lived in
Michigan.
Chicago.
Yeah.
Yep, I remember Ted Norkey. You know who I just saw? I was flipping around. I saw I hit the Fox News station as I was scrolling channels, and I hit it at just the right time. And remember Rich Voss?
I do.
He's a regular on that Gutfeld show now.
Oh, is that right?
I've seen him a few times. I never thought he was that great. He's good.
Well, it's hard. Comedy's a hard thing, as you well know, man. And
Mhm.
just before note, I want to say this because I tell this to your face, but I want to say it on your show.
Yeah.
Very few people I know get successful in a band, successful at major market radio, and headliner as a comedian. You are a triple threat. I did 2. You did 3. Drew Olson, great guy, writer for a paper, a radio guy, wonderful guy. Did not do comedy, not that he couldn't, but to actually pull it off and take it through the steps. Much respect, young man. Not a lot of people do that. I don't know anybody else. I was trying to think. I don't know anybody else that has done all 3. So kudos.
Well, that's just because I just have no attention span, and I
lose
interest in things very quickly.
You have attention span to the right things, because it takes a lot to get to the point where you can tune out on stage at Summerfest. When I watched your band Kill, and at Zany's in Chicago, to go up for 45 minutes, that's a long time. I say, hold your breath for 45 minutes. Go in the ring with Tyson, even at age 60, for 40 seconds, much less 40 minutes. So to do that, that's a long time. 5 minutes can be a long time.
A lot. And you did TV. You did Craig Ferguson.
I did. Yep.
Right. And that's the hardest thing, is that, again, in the life cycle of a comic, it's so you start, you work out. I got to get 5 minutes, man. That's all I want. I need 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And you work over and over and over again. And then you start off as an MC, and you get your 5 minutes, and you might get 3 between acts. And that's it. I got 8 solid minutes. And then you have to work your way up to 30 as a middle, 45 to 60 as a headliner. And then if you want to get to TV, you got to get your best stuff back down to 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's nearly impossible.
Here's something I wanted to, if who's ever watching this, if you want to see how the process goes, you're listening to us here, go and Google Jerry Seinfeld's first Tonight Show appearance with Johnny Carson. Now, and when I did Craig Ferguson, it was 4.5 minutes, as you said, KB. But back then it was 6.5 minutes, 7 minutes. That's a lot. That's almost double the time. That's a lot more time. So, and he said he worked on his set 80 times, 80, and a pause and a the or an and or an and is very, very meticulous about it. 80 times, and you see the 7 minutes. I look at it, I'm thinking, number one, it was okay. You know, he did well, but he didn't set the world on fire. That's hard to do on your first time. So 80 times. But before I did mine, I did 8 run throughs. And it's like it's a completely different thing. So Seinfeld, to watch that and just to say, okay, man, he made it look easy, like it wasn't a big deal. He put a lot of work into that. Just appreciate how hard it is to do one TV set, however long it is. It's under 10 minutes. We'll settle on that, between 5 and 10 minutes.
And now the late night shows, they don't break comics anymore.
No, they sure don't.
And you got to get on like Rogan, or you get on Bert Kreischer's podcast, or you get your YouTube shorts out, or your TikToks and everything.
How do you stand out, man? When we did it, it was, if you got booked, it meant something. You had to go through a gatekeeper, but someone liked you enough to put you on their stage. Now there's no gatekeeper. You can just put your stuff on YouTube. How are you going to get seen and known? I don't know how. Even if you're funny, how do you cut through all the women jiggling their boobs and cute puppies? And that's what it is. And those shorts, Facebook shorts and TikTok. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that's what the playing field is now. It's completely different than what it was.
Who is, of all the people that you worked with, who was the nicest and who gave you the best compliment?
I will tell you this right now. It's a guy named John Fox. John Fox was the ultimate club comic, and all the vices, whatever the Bible tells you not to do, he did it to the 10th power. He died young. He drugged, he drank, he hit waitresses. Hit on them, made love to them, screwed up. But everyone said, I don't know how clean we need to be here. But and Fox was very self-destructive, but a nice man with a great soul. And when you come up in comedy, like anything else, you got to crawl before you walk, before you run. And that first 5 minutes is hard. And then you get that second, like you just mentioned, going from the 5 minutes to the 20 or 30 that you need to be a feature act. I was in that little thing, and I'm wobbling, after 6 or 7 minutes when it's hard. And I did a 10-minute set in front of them one night, and I got some pretty good laughs, and it was a little erratic, but it's that first time when the baby walks, and it's like, boy, it's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I was feeling proud, and he came over to me. I'll never forget, before he went on stage, he goes, "Nice job, Junior. Now watch Daddy go to work." And within 10 seconds, they had forgotten that I even existed, which is fine. But my point is, he took the time to compliment and respect, and just said, "You got a long way to go." And he did it in such a classy way. Now, you've seen him. There was a guy that, I don't know if he ever wrote a joke in his life. He delivered old jokes better than anybody I've ever seen.
Steve Cardell?
Oh, another great one. Yeah. Steve Cardell was a wonderful mentor. He had an open mic. Now, you started a little bit later than I did, but there was one comedy showcase in Milwaukee. It was a Monday night at Sardino's. That's a jazz club where Al Jarreau started, and
down on Farwell.
They ripped it down now, so we can plug the hell out of it. But he and his manager Shirley Shack, they would run the open mics, and they would mentor the young comedians. And we were all dented cans, sleeping on the couch. And he had a one-nighter in Beloit, and he asked you to do the one-nighter. That's like getting asked to do Vegas, man. You're driving an hour, and just what wonderful times. And then those guys, it's a thrill to live your dream. I don't care if you're in a band, and you were in all three. Who doesn't want to be a rock singer? You were.
Yeah.
Comedian. You did that too. Radio. You did that too. Those are three things a lot of people want to do.
Well, the funny stuff is the funniest stuff always happened off the stage.
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned John Fox, and John Fox used to come in. And if anyone remembers him out there, he had this gruff voice and looked like Captain Kangaroo after a long weekend, And he walked in, "Hey, Kev, how you doing, man? Good to see you, Kev. I got 20 minutes of new smoke, man. I'm just throwing fastballs, man. It's so fucking good." And then he would go up and do his act, and nothing had changed. And actually mentioned Bert at Zanies. And one of the funniest things that ever happened, Bert would always, when Fox came to Zanies, Bert would always book me to middle.
Oh, beautiful. That's
because I would headline there, but if he wanted to book me, he booked me with Fox, and he booked me as a middle because he didn't know when Fox was going to kick over. He's like, because at Zanies was where you had to do 3 shows on a Saturday, then come back on Sunday, which just absolutely freaking blew. That was the worst. But he goes, "I don't know if Fox is ever going to make it to the 3rd show, and I need someone to close if he does."
Yeah.
And I mean, he used to hit it hard.
That's an understatement.
It was Fox and I and Stevie Vento working the Zanies.
Okay.
And Stevie Vento, he has since passed. He was one of my favorite people in the world. But, you go, "Oh, he's a midget." And he would go, "No." Stevie would go, "I'm a Peter Pan dwarf. That's the medical condition that I have," And so the guy that owns Zanies, had 2 box seats for Cubs games.
Yeah, he did.
And so they give Fox and I the 2 seats, but we got Stevie.
Okay.
And so Fox is like, "No, don't worry, Stevie. I'll get you in there. Don't worry, I can get you in. Don't have to follow me." And so we buy a general admission ticket. We walk in, and Fox goes, "I need 4 beers, 2 big buckets of popcorn, and 4 hot dogs." So they pile this up, right? So you get these big trays, and he turns around and he gives them to Stevie. He goes, "Carry these." And so we go in, we walk down, we get to the row. The usher is there. He holds out the 2 tickets, and the guy goes, "Right this way." And he had Stevie in front of him, and then gives the guy the 2 tickets over his head, right over Stevie's head.
Yeah.
He walks, he goes, "Yeah, go right this way." So now we're sitting there right behind the dugout on the third base side. 3 people only had 2 tickets. And Fox just turns and looks at me. He goes, "See, no one ever checks a midget." That's one line I'm going to remember. No one ever checks midget.
He had a heart, man. And unfortunately, before the internet time, I mean, he was a club comic back when that was something. And he was a very good-looking blonde guy, originally from Waukegan, Illinois, but he was billed from California. He went to California early, and he just years of partying. He did look like Captain Kangaroo after a bender. And he was just a character and a half, and club comedians knew him. He didn't get the due that he deserved. Wonderful guy, and a great deliverer of comedy. He could rock the room like nobody I've ever seen.
He was dirty.
Oh, no, I'm not saying he wasn't. No.
And he had some, hey, so that's I with this chick, put my head down her pants. I thought a horse was eating oats out of my mouth. Another great Fox line. So, anyone you work with, and I was very lucky, and there were a couple people that were real jerks, but Linda used to book me at the cafe with the good headliners. The best night that I ever worked was a Tuesday night, and I was so thrilled to go up. It was Will Durst, myself, and Bill Hicks. And Bill Hicks, I think, was the best. But who's the best? The best guy one guy that you worked with that made it big, and it's just like, wow, I can't believe I'm up here with him.
Well, you mentioned two that are going to be on your show, so that's the level that you're already. Gardell is number one. Was just a wonderful human being, even back in the day.
You just worked with him a couple of weeks ago.
He's the best. I mean, just a great guy. And I don't mean this in an insult way. And if you play this back to him, he'll know exactly what I'm talking about. People say, "Is Billy Gardell funny?" He's funny enough. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't suck on stage. He's okay. A lot of comics are funny, but him as a person is fantastic. You know what I'm saying? That's what sets him apart. Then you and I and Drew saw him at the casino down in Illinois just last year, less than a year that we're recording this. And wow, his act has come 100 times. And yeah, maybe that's what success will do for you, but he never stopped working. Now I can say, not only is he a great guy, he's a great comedian too. He came so far in his comedy. So now but it takes decades of staying with it. And he did business things right. He got his teeth fixed. He got the weight thing lost. And not everybody's willing to do that. He moved to LA. I lived in LA for about a year in 1996. We hung out. We watched football games together because I always liked him as a person. But he stayed out there. He got a good manager in Chris Tapeta. And it wasn't, he's lucky. Yeah, there might have been some luck involved there. He got 2 sitcoms in his starring role. That's not luck. The first one might have been. He kept it. I can't say enough good things about Billy Gardell. Another one who mentored me at a time when I needed it the most, at the Punchline Atlanta, Jeff Cesario. People might not necessarily know his name. He's a great comic, and he's written for so many great things. He's had a wonderful career. He is another nice guy. Wonderful, giving, caring soul.
His writing and producing, he's been involved with some of the best shows ever.
Absolutely.
He was, him and he did a little bit of work with Seinfeld with Spike Firestein, but he did Larry Sanders Show, which I think is probably he wasn't on it, but I think he wrote and executive produced, and I know he had his hand in that with Gary Shandling, and I think that there would be no Seinfeld show without Gary Shandling.
No question about it.
Convinced it was so, and it holds up.
Now, if you're listening to it totally does hold up. If you're listening to this as an outsider, these are names I never heard of. Musicians sit around and talk about names of great guitarists or great singers that the public hasn't heard of. Just because somebody is talented doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be famous. And just because somebody's famous doesn't mean they're necessarily talented. So when you get somebody that like a Jeff Cesario or John Rigi, there's another one that was on the Larry Sanders show.
John Rigi, yeah.
Out of Cincinnati. And but yeah, Cesario, please, not that he would, I think he would remember me. Please tell him I said hello, and I have the ultimate respect for him as a comic and as a person. Because he mentored me. That was a big club back then. And I was a cheesehead, and he kind of walked me through the ropes. I was an opening act. I'll never forget him for that. Very kind.
Let's see. Jeff on the YouTube comments says, have you ever had an audience member chase you down because they took a joke too literally?
Oh my gosh, yes. Maybe it was him. Have you had this? I'll let you go first because I got a couple stories.
You know what? I don't think I really have. I can't recall one, but then again, I can't remember what my closer was. But
well, we'll keep it short. I was in Cincinnati passing through town one time. There's a guy named Keith Leslie.
Keith is one of the best.
One of the best, sadly passed away.
Pittsburgh guy.
He was a Pittsburgh guy, very similar in style to Dennis Miller. He wrote for Dennis Miller. Drake Sather as well. Yes, exactly. Drake Sather got him in to be writer for Grace Under Fire. I was living in Los Angeles. He had a wife and kids back in Pittsburgh. He stayed in me in my little deficiency one-room apartment, and I tried to help him out. And but he was just absolutely, super funny. And what was the story now? So we're in Cincinnati, and he's there, and I was just passing through. We're gonna go get something to eat afterwards. So it was open mic night, as you had mentioned before, and 4 guys were driving down from Cleveland to try to audition for this club in Cincinnati. Cincinnati to Cleveland, that's a pretty good haul, 4 or 5 hours maybe.
Right.
And one of them was going to have to host the show. So I went to the club manager and these 4 guys from Cleveland. I said, guys, I'm a comedian. I'm just passing through to see my friend Keith. I'll happily host the show for free. I'm in town anyway. We're going to hang out afterwards. So one of you doesn't have to host. You can all go up for, oh, you do that? That is so nice of you. It's like, hey, I like to think you do it for me. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be here anyway. Why wouldn't I do that? Yes. So I'm hosting the show, and these guys from Kentucky, Cincinnati, Covington, Kentucky is right across the river from Cincinnati. That's where the club was. It was a Funny Bone in Covington, Kentucky. Mm-hmm. So these redneck hillbillies come in, and while the other guy's on, and they see these new guys, and they start heckling the newbies. Okay, so then, that's like tipping over a wheelchair and saying, I kicked your ass. Are you happy? So I went back up and I started, don't poke the tiger. I can defend myself with anybody. So I start railing on these guys, and the audience is on my side. Oh, a little easier when you're not doing it for kindergartners. Now you got someone that's been in the game. So other guy goes up, heckles again, and saying, look, dude, heckle me. I took the whole table out. Next thing I know, a pitcher of beer comes about 3 inches from my right ear, and they're coming up to the stage. So the mic stand can be used as a baseball bat. So I'm swinging at these guys. Next thing I know, the cops are there. And in a nutshell, I am banned still to this day from Cincinnati because I was defending these guys. I tried to tell the cops. The cops only see that I was, starting it.
You were swinging a mic stand.
Swinging a mic stand. I look at it and I didn't hit him. I would hate to ruin a perfectly good mic stand by cracking on their coconut head.
Well, Dobe, I'm gonna have you stick around a little bit because there's a couple of things that I like to do.
Okay.
And I'd like you to comment on them as I do them. And one of them is a feature that I've added to this show called What Color is the Sky on Your Planet?
Wow, that's nice graphics there, buddy. I got to say, you got better production value and graphics than all the radio shows I've ever been part of.
Oh, they're all horrible. All the graphics and production because they don't know how to do anything.
No,
it's like I've spent a lot of time learning about this YouTubing thing. Mm-hmm. And
coming across very well. I'm sorry, as you're saying, go ahead.
So what color is the sky in your planet? This one comes out of the New York Post, though.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And it is a woman by the name of only goes by Catherine, but she is going to be on season 7 of this upcoming the upcoming season of My Strange Addiction. Mm-hmm. Right. And Catherine is talking about what she does. Catherine says, my relationship up until the point where I was in community college.
Okay.
And it started with a dare. And someone dared me to snort a flavored fruit drink.
Okay.
I got a head rush, but it was actually fruitier than if I was going to have it through my mouth. And it was phenomenal. This was 5 years ago. Since then, I've been eating every meal. My entire diet goes through my nose. Omelets with spinach and mushroom, liquefied spinach, steak, coffee, guacamole. She throws it in a blender, turns it into a liquid, and snorts it through a straw. Unfortunately, she said it's like it's off-putting to her friends. Really? I mean, that's a one date and done. You take her to a good restaurant.
Take it over to Pieces of Eight.
Yeah, you can't take her out on a date because she's going to have her own blender with her.
Could you do it through a drive-through, maybe?
But she had gone on several dates with this guy, Justin.
Several dates, okay.
Yes, before meeting him at the District Biscuit Company in Alexandria, Virginia. He presented her a bouquet of colorful flowers, and right away she had to come out with it. She goes, "Are you able to blend the food?" After she asked the server. Unfortunately, we do not have a blender, but we have grits, tomato soup, and vegetarian sausage gravy. She selected the grits because she was assured they could fit through a straw. When the food arrived, she took her hands, pressed the straw inside her rice nostril, sucked up her iced coffee. The guy said, "What the fuck are you doing?" And at this point, I know, it's over. And it was a one and done. They had dated for a few times. They went out for one meal. She snorted her grits and her coffee through a straw. And Catherine, I know you're a very learned woman because you went to community college, but what color is the sky on your freaking planet?
I think the ultimate question here is, how big is Iraq?
Oh yeah. I mean, you know what? I can't get past that though, Doe.
No, I couldn't either.
I could not get past that at all. If someone is snorting, has to liquefy. Even the people that liquefy it, sometimes they do weird stuff like that. I can't deal with that. I can't relate to that.
Where do you go on a first date? A movie, maybe? Get your popcorn butter. What are you snorting there?
And all of a sudden it's like, yeah. So if she did popcorn through her nose, there would be a time where she'd be going, because she
get that little husk.
They get the husk caught up in her nasal cavity.
That's a good story, man. You don't get this in mainstream media, baby.
No, you don't. And you know what else you don't get?
What's that?
You don't get this one either, because this is how I usually close my show, and I'll let you stick around with this, and feel free to add to this,
okay,
if you'd like. But what I do is every day I do a top 5 list, okay, of my favorite things. And my top 5 lists it's a little bit different, and it's probably stuff that you wouldn't even think of. But I call it KB's top 5 all-time worldwide.
All right, look at those graphics. That's fantastic. Looks like the Harley logo.
Look at that. Okay, so today my list of top 5 favorite things. My favorite top 5 all-time worldwide list is, we're at the end of the football season. Do you play fantasy football?
I did for a while, and I thought, you know what? If I ever want to see a female naked again, I better stop that because it's too geeky. I did it for a couple of years. I'm thinking, all this energy to win $50? I don't think so.
Well,
So no, I don't anymore. No.
You don't know where it started. Excuse me. You don't know where it started, but with fantasy football, what has become, might have started with that show, The League. Steve Renzizi, too, the guy who played Kevin on The League.
I know him.
I went golfing with him. He's a good comic, too.
Yeah.
Nice guy. But I digress. Nice. You have punishments now. That's the thing. The fantasy football league, you lose, and then you have to do punishments that will humiliate you. And I've seen they've made guys take the SAT. As you have to go take the SAT, and then all his buddies from the league would tailgate out in the parking lot until he was done. But I have to go in and do that 4-hour test.
Great.
Right on the SAT. The one that I just saw, this is harsh what they did. This was really cold. You have to go and donate it at a sperm bank. But when you make your donation, and I don't know, I couldn't even find a sperm bank. We called them a gym sock when I was growing up. But what you have to do when you fill everything out, you go to the sperm bank, you have to make a donation, but you have to check the box that says, yes, you can contact me when you're 18. So that is a pimp 18 years in the making.
Man, great stuff. I got to get back in fantasy football if I could.
So
inflict this on my buddies.
These are what I'm doing right now is my top 5 all-time worldwide fantasy football punishments I'd like to see.
Okay.
The ones that I would like to do. And we're going to start off at number 5. And number 5 is have a Kool-Aid stand in February. Put you out at a busy intersection.
Yeah.
Got to get the cardboard sign in front of the card table, 5 cents a glass. And, on a 10-degree day, as cars are going by, you have to go out and you have to sell Kool-Aid until you get to $5.
Wow, that's brutal.
So that's 100 glasses of Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
on a cold day. That is coming in at number 5. Coming in at number 4 is you have to eat a lime. Eat 3 limes like it's an orange.
Wow.
So it's
one
a citrus
would be bad.
fruit. So, you eat an orange, you get the peel off, you get all the segments. It's exactly the same inside of a lime, but you have to peel it and eat it 3 of them. Eat it segment by segment.
That's cruel and unusual punishment.
That is, and that's what I'm good at. This one I think you'll like, though.
Okay. I like the other ones.
Okay. You're not a magician, are you?
I am not.
Well,
not
at all.
Money disappeared.
No, yeah. No one's a magician. AJ, another old guy who was a great musician.
Glenn Gerard.
I just saw him not too long ago. Yeah, doing magic. But the average person doesn't know how to do magic. And I can guarantee you a guy in a fantasy football league does not know how to do magic.
Agreed.
So coming in at number 3, what you have to do is you have to go do a magic show at a retirement community.
With that hat on.
And with a top hat, with the wand and everything. You have to get booked. You have to call a retirement community because they're starved for entertainment, right? They've got nothing going on. You have to go to a retirement community, convince them that you're a magician, and then go in and do a magic show for the old people.
Buddy, that's scary.
I happen to think that's genius. That's one of my favorite ones.
No, it's great. I'm not saying I don't like it. It's scary, though.
Coming in at number 2, go trick-or-treating in July, where you have to dress up in a costume and go door to door through a neighborhood, and you cannot leave the door until they give you something.
Wow. Man, you're going to get some Arthur Treacher's soy sauce packs.
Yeah, here's some wintergreen lifesavers. Something's got to go in that bag or in that pumpkin.
Here's some couch lint.
Right. And finally, of my top 5 all-time worldwide fantasy football punishments I'd like to see, enlist.
in the KISS Army.
No, you have to go down to an army station and try to enlist.
Wow, good luck with that.
I think that would be the penultimate fantasy football penalty.
Funny,
right there.
I'm contemplating. I like all of them. 5 for 5.
5 for 5. Well, Dobe, man, thanks for taking time out of your day to hang out with me. I really appreciate it. We'll have you back on as long as this little stupid thing goes. Want to remind people that tomorrow we're going to have Red Hot Tim Scott. Wednesday it's going to be Christian Bush, and Thursday Trevor Thomas. So it's guest week here on KB's Unemployed Show. Dobie at Dented Can. Dobie, are you got any gigs coming up anywhere?
Yeah, where am I going to be? I will be at Shank Hall on February 20th.
Is that the fundraiser for the dog?
Yeah, I think we're going to do a fundraiser. I haven't really talked to him again, but I just like Peter Jest and I like the room. That's where I first started doing comedy. So once a year, I want to try to do a show there. I know a lot of people on the east side that, the parking is kind of tough there because they took away that parking lot and they put up condos over there. But Shank Hall, it's a great situation. So if you can come on out, I would appreciate it and say, hey, you heard me on Drew and KB.
All right. And KB's Unemployed Show for the 100.
And KB's Unemployed Show, yes.
And for the 146 people that are watching. Okay, Doe, thanks a lot. Thank you very much, and take care, and we'll talk to you soon.
Very soon. Be listening, too. Thank you. Yeah.
Make good choices.